You think you're safe because you're awake, but real horror, it doesn't live in the shadows. It hides in hospitals, in science labs, in your own body. Tonight, you're not hearing stories. You're hearing the truth, terrifying, documented, and all too real. Locked-in syndrome. There are people lying in hospital beds right now, fully conscious, screaming silently inside their heads. It's called locked-in syndrome. 1 blink for yes, 2 for no. Some were declared brain dead. Their families cried. Surgeons prepared for organ donation. But they heard everything, felt everything. Imagine your body being cut open, and your only movement is a single tear running down your cheek. The man who lived in a coma for 12 years. Imagine waking up, but no one knows you're awake. You can't move, you can't speak, you can't scream. That was Martin Pistorius' life for 12 long years. In 1988, Martin was just a regular 12-year-old boy in South Africa. Then, without warning, he fell ill. Doctors thought it was meningitis. Within a few days, he lost his ability to speak, then walk, then move. Within weeks, Martin slipped into a coma. Doctors gave up. They told his parents to take him home and let him die peacefully. But Martin didn't die. Around age 16, Martin's brain woke up again. He began to regain consciousness, but his body remained frozen. He was completely aware, but completely paralyzed. He heard everything. He saw everything. He remembered everything. Cotard's Delusion, The Walking Dead. Some people don't fear death because they believe they're already dead. Cotard's delusion is a real and rare psychological disorder. People who suffer from it are convinced that they are already dead, missing vital organs like a heart or brain, rotting from the inside, or that their soul has vanished forever. It's not a metaphor. It's not depression. It's a complete break from physical reality. The person walks, talks, breathes, but believes they're a corpse. In 1880, a French neurologist named Jules Cotard described a woman known as Mademoiselle X. She believed she had no brain, no nerves, no chest, no stomach. She didn't need to eat because she was dead. She was immortal because she was already in hell. She eventually died of starvation because she literally believed food was useless to her corpse. Doctors believe Cotard's is linked to severe depression, psychosis, or schizophrenia, brain damage, especially in the frontal or parietal lobes, sometimes triggered by trauma, epilepsy, or even viral infections. The brain literally loses the ability to connect thought with existence. Unlike other mental illnesses, Cotard's doesn't make people afraid of death. It makes them afraid of existing, of being trapped in a body they no longer believe is theirs, of being dead, but still aware. People with Cotard's often stop eating, bathing, or caring for their health because they believe their body no longer matters. Without intervention, many die of starvation or neglect. It's not fear-driven. It's pure detachment from being human. Sleep paralysis. Sleep paralysis is a real phenomenon. It occurs when your body is stuck between sleep and wakefulness, a moment when your mind becomes conscious before your body does. You're awake. But you can't move, can't speak, can't breathe deeply, and often you're not alone. In this paralyzed state, your brain floods with fear and your mind begins to hallucinate, but they aren't random dreams. They're dark, they're repetitive, they're shared across cultures. People all over the world report seeing a shadowy figure standing at the foot of their bed, a witch sitting on their chest, a demon whispering in their ear, or a woman with no eyes crawling across the ceiling. These figures don't feel imaginary, they feel present, and many people say they felt touched, choked, or dragged. Cannibals you've never heard about. In the 1990s, in Novokuznetsk, Russia, Alexander Spizivtsov lived in a grim Soviet apartment with his mother. She lured homeless children into their home. Alexander tortured, murdered, and cooked them. When police finally entered the apartment, they found body parts boiling on the stove, blood-smeared dolls, his diary, where he detailed the taste of different victims, and photos. Lots of them. He was declared insane and locked in a psychiatric ward. But the neighbors still live in the same building. The apartment remains sealed. In some real cases, killers said they didn't do it for hunger. They did it because they liked it, because it made them feel powerful, because they wanted to keep their victims inside them forever. The human body, after death, moves. We imagine a dead body lying perfectly still, silent and frozen. But science tells a very different story. After death, the body enters a strange, unpredictable phase, and sometimes it moves. In Australia, at the AFTER facility, Australian Facility for Taphonomic Experimental Research, scientists filmed a corpse in a controlled setting for 17 months. They were trying to study decomposition, but they discovered something they didn't expect. The arms moved, the legs uncrossed, the entire body shifted position, and in one case, the corpse's arm reached outward as if trying to grasp something. They called it significant post-mortem motion, no wind. No animals, just the body, moving on its own. Buried alive. In the 18th and 19th centuries, being buried alive was so common, people invented safety coffins. These had bells connected to strings tied to the corpse's hands, breathing tubes and viewing windows in case the person woke up. Why? Because doctors made mistakes. Medical science was crude. People in deep comas, seizures, or near-death states were often declared dead. And sometimes, they woke up too late. Octavia Hatcher, 1891. Octavia lost her baby and fell into a deep depression. Days later, she slipped into a coma and was pronounced dead. She was buried in hot weather. Quickly, but then, more people in the area came down with the same sleep-like illness and recovered. Her husband panicked. He had her exhumed. They found the coffin lining torn to shreds, her nails bent backward, her body twisted and bruised. She had been alive when buried and died of suffocation. Today, her grave in Pikeville, Kentucky, has a life-size statue of her above it. Tourists still report strange feelings near the site. The dying brain's final flash. For centuries, people believed death was a sudden switch. Heart stops, brain shuts down, light out. But new science says no. In several recent studies, researchers found something terrifying. After the body dies, the brain keeps working, not for seconds, but minutes. In a Canadian ICU, doctors monitored the brainwaves of patients who were taken off life support. Most flatlined, but one patient's brain kept firing for 10 full minutes after death. The pattern? It was the same kind of brain activity seen in dreaming, conscious thought, and even pain perception. No one could explain it. The person was clinically dead, but their mind was still active. Horror movies end, but real fear. It's in your body, your brain, your sleep. Tonight, you learned the truth. The monster under the bed was never fake. It was always you, trapped, conscious, waiting. And now you know. Some people never wake up. Others wish they hadn't.